Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Talkin Wellness. So happy to have you with us. My name is Christian.
It's your boy, Michael.
And I'm Kayla.
And it's so nice to be back. I know we've been gone for a while, but we are officially back. And we have a cool topic that we're going to talk about today. The future is here. ChatGPT is on a rise. AI technology is getting to a really scary place. So we're going to talk about AI and what that means for wellness and recovery and how that can be a positive tool and how that can be kind of a negative tool as well. One of the main things where I really wanted to talk about this topic is because I've been seeing a lot of videos on the internet about how AI is kind of, I guess you can say, getting really good at mimicking people, at mimicking voices, you can ask AI. I'll never forget a couple years ago, there was a famous video where somebody asked an AI video creator to make Will Smith eating spaghetti. And it's the weirdest, most craziest looking thing you can find. His eyes were all over the place. The mouth was moving really weird. And it didn't look real. Only a few years later, I don't know exactly how much, but it's not that many years later, they re-asked that AI bot the same question. Give me a video of Will Smith eating spaghetti. And sure enough, the video looks almost too realistic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think AI is getting to a really weird place where, we can use AI for creativity and to come up with ideas. I'm not going to lie. We use AI here on the podcast from time to time to kind of figure out, we really want to talk about this topic, but we're not sure what topics to hit within that topic, right? So in cases like that, we can see AI as a tool, but at the same time, when we start seeing AI used in ways that's really intended to make life easier instead of you doing the hard work, maybe that's where we can start seeing some of those negatives. So what do you guys think about that?
I don't know. AI, I'm a firm believer of whatever's put on earth, you got to use to the best of your ability.
Me too.
Don't let things. It's always been like this since the beginning of time. If you don't stick with the times, you're gonna be left behind.
Sure.
Always been like that. So I remember when AI first came around, 10 years ago, maybe more, and people were like, "Oh, that's AI. It's there, but it's not there yet." And it's becoming more of a prevalent issue where people are like, "Oh, AI is there." Accountants, certain people have jobs that could kind of be just switched into AI or automated work, are definitely thinking, because I was looking at Reddit pages not too long ago of jobs that were really good startups or trades, and a lot of the people were like, well, I was going to go into cybersecurity and I was going to go into this, and they were all like, I'm going to switch my career because AI
is going to take over.
Yeah, so it's definitely,
which is really a hindrance to
absolutely, but at the
humanity.
same time, there are people that are going to have to be able to use the AI in order to work those jobs too.
I agree.
So again, it goes back to my point. It's you have to keep up with the times. But again, versus against that point, it's there are people that are just not going to be savvy with these things. They're not going to be, you could be 6 years old and let's say you're still in the workforce and they just introduce AI technology and replace your job. It's going to be hard to catch on and try to lock into this for a bit and learn it. And then next year, 10 years, you're doing it. It's very difficult to do that. So AI is definitely a convoluted topic for sure, but I think there's a lot of really good things that come from AI.
Of course.
I would say AI is more beneficial than social media, in my opinion. I think social media is very good, and I compare them because social media has a lot of great benefits. Yeah, you can earn a lot of great things for them, but I think the detriment is worse. I think there's a lot more detriment to it than the things you can get from it. Because really, the only people that get things positive from social media or business is businesses. You could say you get a little bit of self-purpose or community, but really it's not real. It's not a real thing that's kind of happening on social media. A lot of times people are trying to appeal to certain things, but at the same time, it's good for a lot of avenues. Like yourself, you do the movie stuff. It's good for reviews. I remember when TikTok was getting taken down, everybody was freaking out. And I tweeted about it. I'm I absolutely hate TikTok. It's a brain rot culture, but at the end of the day, it's bringing tons of money to a lot of small businesses and a lot of exposure to people that are starting off on the bottom of their feet. So everything has pros and cons to it. You just gotta at the end of the day, you gotta do what you can in each space that comes out. In AI, I'm learning how to do AI. I do AI in my trading now. I trade crypto in the morning, and so let's say when you trade crypto, there's so many steps, and I'll tell you right now. So you have to buy the Bitcoin on Cash App or Coinbase or something like that. Then you have to send it to a Phantom wallet or another external wallet to trade it. Then you have to to swap it on that app for whatever coin you want, and then you got to execute it as to how much you want. So that's already 5 things, and that could be on all different apps, and it takes time. So let's say when you're trying to get an order quick, all that time could be the difference between getting it early and getting it late and losing your money.
Yeah.
So that's where bots could be really good. Let's say someone puts in a coin, I'm in a Telegram. I have a literal AI bot that buys into the coin. So if I like the coin, I could put buys immediately. That cuts out all those 4 steps, saves me money, saves me time. And did it really make it like cheating and like in a way of cheating or of like AI did it for me? No, I did it for me. I set it for myself. I made a strategy for myself to work for me. So that's where I think AI is beneficial. There are people using AI to absolutely do nothing too. So there's people like ChatGPT, their homework and different thing like that. And that's when it comes into the lane of like, you're losing a bit of yourself.
Yeah. For sure.
And when you do that, you will definitely get left behind by the AI. AI age.
Well, yeah. And I think that's a great point that you're making. And because I agree, I think AI can be a useful tool, but nobody should have like an ultimate dependence on it. And I think it's how we use it, when we use it, and why we use it.
Yep.
Right. I always think of those things with anything I'm doing. How, why, when. Right? How am I using this? So to me, like if I'm going and doing homework or I'm trying to learn in a topic and I'm using it to kind of cut corners, I'm actually robbing myself of intellectual knowledge, critical thinking, and actually understanding whatever subject that I'm trying to gain knowledge on.
Yeah.
Because I even seen people use AI to submit like these insane resumes, and then you meet them and you're like, you are not what we see
Honestly,
on paper.
we said a lot on this thing, and I truly think it's a big part of becoming mature is like when you learn to do things with intention in your life. When you learn to do things in intention in your life is when your life is starting to change. You'll see changes for the good.
Yeah.
And it goes back to that AI. When you're doing it with intention, with the right intention of, I'm going to use AI to help me with things and help increase my business and help short circuit things that maybe take longer, you know?
Yes.
That's when it's good to use it. But again, if you're using it with the intention of I'm going to use it to replace my life and replace the things.
Any kind of thinking
then you're losing,
or whatever.
Again, you're losing yourself.
Yeah.
You're losing a bit of yourself. You're losing your socialness. There are people that do that. You lose socialness.
Yeah.
Like the ability to talk to people.
Ability to critical think.
Absolutely.
Make decisions.
If you go on ChatGPT and you ask them everything every single time, what topic should I use? Not that, like, we use it. We use
do,
it 100%.
absolutely.
But let's say if you do it every time.
Yeah.
Every single time. Let's say if we did, what topic should we use? What should we talk about that topic? What should we talk about those topics about that topic? Are we even having a podcast anymore? You know what I'm saying? So it becomes like, back to the point, you're just losing yourself. And as a human world, the most important thing is keeping humanity within ourselves.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with you. And this is where that balance is key, right? Because I firmly believe that AI could be a wonderful tool. AI can help you solve problems. AI can find answers that maybe you just can't find.
Absolutely.
AI can be the change. I'll give you a cool example of a cool way to use AI. So this past Christmas, I was really thinking, like, I have a friend of mine. I was like, I don't know what to give him a gift of. And then I like, well, there's 2 things he really loves. He really loves Batman, and he really loves his Fender guitar. And I thought, well, how cool would it be if I could find an image of Batman playing a black Fender guitar like the one that he has? And I couldn't find it. Yeah. I looked for a hot hour just trying to find any image of Batman playing any type of guitar, and I couldn't find it. So I went to AI. And I said, show me an image of Batman where this specific AI bot couldn't use Batman because copyright. So I had to like add a whole bunch of information, like a black suit wearing superhero with a cape and whatever, right? But it did all that playing a black electric guitar that's similar to the look of a Fender. And it gave me an image. Yeah. And I put that image on a shirt. And that's his Christmas gift, you know? Yeah. So it's like when you use AI for fun stuff like that, I can because I'm not capable of drawing. Yeah. I'm not going to pay $50 to someone to draw me that
AI
image.
A ton on Photoshop and on different like creative apps.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do. There's like one of the number one things that a lot of people do is called generative fill. And it's literally like a program, like let's say if you're filming vertically or horizontally, you're going to cut out all the top things. Like let's say if I film on my camera the way we're filming right now, it's going to cut off all the stuff above us and like that. Versus if I filmed it vertical, it's going to get more of a vertical presentation. You can use Photoshop, you can use other apps to, let's say if you film that way, it will fill in the rest of the space. Let's say if you want to put it on Instagram.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
like it will generatively fill in all that space, and instead of leaving like a black like movie look, to it,
where it has,
and it looks like a natural thing. Like you could be on a beach and like let's say you get the bottom of the sand, you generative fill, it will put the rest of the sand there. We'll put water in the background.
The magic expand, and it's just like whatever. Yeah,
that is such an awesome tool because it allows you to. One, if you didn't film vertically, you could fill that in and put it for content online. So like it gives people so many more avenues to be creative with it. That's really what it does. It allows people to be way more creative.
I agree.
With their
save
their
time
experience.
because I think when you are a creative person,
absolutely,
and you have, like,
time is the number one thing that it does. Especially with creators. Like I'm coming from a videographer, like crypto trader, and like the number one thing when it comes to like all that time.
Yeah.
You do not. Let's say if I take a video job and I'm like, oh, they're gonna pay me $500 for the job, right?
Yeah.
But it takes me 20 hours to do the job. I made what? Nothing, like $5 an hour. But if I use AI tools and I can get that thing done in an hour, I made $500 an hour. So it's literally the difference between using things to help you be more beneficial in your life versus letting them take control of you.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I use AI too, and I use it for the benefit of time, right?
Yeah.
Like there's things that I know how to do. It's going to take me a lot longer, but I can feed
And
this
how many
into
times
this
do you
tool.
also chat GPT and you read it out and you realize it does sound a bit robotic and you add your bit of humanity into it.
Yes,
and that's
all the time.
And that's exactly
all the time.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it's designed for.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not designed to like completely do everything for you. And the people that do that, you can tell.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You can tell.
I can tell. I
Immediately.
swear,
Yeah,
I can tell anytime
yes.
that something's AI.
Immediately.
Like,
If you
immediately.
copy paste directly from ChatGPT,
Especially if someone
you need
knows
to
you
stop
and your
doing
level
that.
of
Stop doing it,
Especially-
Stop
please.
doing that.
Especially
We
if
know.
someone knows you and your level of intelligence.
Do you know? Let me tell you something too. I will never
Since
now.
when do you use the word exquisitely, brother?
I'm
Like,
like
come on.
mastering a million times. I'm like, I won't even use that. I that's a word that I would
I've
use. or
never used
cultivate,
that word in my life.
But I will never use it again because every time I see anything AI, it's like the same types
Yeah.
of words. So yeah, come on, guys. We got to massage that a little bit.
Yeah, no, come on, bro.
Yeah, and make it sound like you. You know,
Yeah.
make it sound like you. Make it
But
match.
and another question we had. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
And another question we had brought up too. What is AI? What is AI exactly? Is it just
Artificial
intelligence.
or does that go to like algorithms? Does that go to so many other things?
I think it can be both.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a technology created that's supposed to supposedly, of course, this is what the experts say, supposed to think by itself. Obviously, no technology can think by itself.
Yeah.
It requires programming, it requires code.
but we make it smarter.
But we are making it smarter, which is the part that could potentially make it to that level. Now, I know this is getting into that conspiracy theory kind of thing.
Oh,
It's
but
getting
we
into
like
that
that.
sci-fi future kind of thing.
I don't know
But
if it's conspiracy.
I'm a firm believer they make movies about things
that are
they
gonna.
they
you guys
wouldn't-
remember the first one?
They
The
want
guy-
to tell
what
you
was
that
the-
these things
iRobot?
are real. iRobot,
with the kid, with the-
Terminator. There's so many of them.
There is, and then there was the one.
You know, Skynet, Terminator, the thing that like destroyed the world. That's a real AI company, right? In the world, you can go look it up. It's a real AI company, and it's owned by the government.
But those
if
are
you
things
think
that you
all
really
these
need to
things
think
are-
about. Because here's the problem, right? All we need, and again, I've gone through many rabbit holes about this topic. That's why I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah.
All we need is to input the correct code, and for the AI to learn a specific information. Because what is intelligence? Intelligence at the end of the day is your ability to create a thought. And the moment that AI can create a thought without needing the code, we're done.
I mean, it's already happening. They're already doing
And
it.
that's the thing. It requires some sort of code. But what if we give it enough information where now the AI can learn to produce its own stuff? That's where things
AI
can
gone
get.
rogue.
It's only a matter of
Exactly.
time.
It is. I agree. I
And
definitely
that's the
agree.
stuff.
Yeah.
And,
Only a matter of time.
and going back a little bit to what we were talking about earlier, I also have a big problem with AI. Well, I'm just going to give you a glimpse of the movie world. One of the most controversial things that people are talking about right now is writers are using AI to make their movie scripts. These are scripts that are making it all the way up to the Oscars. And so other writers are like, what are you doing? And fans too, like, why
It's
are you
taking away
using
from
AI to make a film? A film is supposed to be completely and 100% naturally created, right? You may depend on
But
collaboration.
let's say if they do that whole film on AI written, and it's the best film you've ever seen in your life, What if it's just like the best film you've ever seen?
What then? Am I watching a movie created by people, or am I watching a movie created by robots?
But that's my question to you. Do you care if it's created by people, if it's the best movie you've ever seen?
I think he cares.
I do.
That would be my question to you.
I do.
It's like, do people care about that?
Here's why. I think I saw a beautiful silent film recently, black and white, called The Kid, directed and written by Charlie Chaplin. You know Charlie Chaplin.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie was silent completely. It was more of a comedy, but there was this scene in the movie that really impacted me where, just to give a little bit of context, Charlie Chaplin's character, he's called the Tramp. A kid is dropped off by his not doorstep, but he finds a kid, an orphan, and he at first didn't want to take care of the kid, but throughout time he just takes care of the kid, and 5 years later he's a little kid and he loves the child, basically sees him as a son. And there's a specific scene because he lives in some sort of poverty, and the kid is like constantly getting into hijinks so they can make money to survive. The child services of the time come and try to take the child, and there's this powerful scene where the kid is like extending his arms, crying, and we switch back to Charlie Chaplin's face, and it's this pure fear. And I just don't think you can capture that emotion, or you can feel that emotion, if that was created by a robot compared to a human. Because a human who wrote that, most likely than not, had an experience that connected him to make that scene. Does that make sense? Whereas a robot is creating it because it's copying everything in the past. That's the difference.
It was like all those images that were coming out through AI, like after the hurricane Helene, and there was fake images that were surfacing in Asheville or like Western North Carolina.
I mean, they did it with the fires in California,
and they did it the same thing. Yeah. So it is. I think it's so hard because just like anything else, I think there's like the good that we can talk about, right? Like the good uses of things, and then like what we are seeing could be like the threats and the challenges, the pros and cons. And that being said, I mean, there was a couple of things that we wanted to talk about with AI and the use of the mental health arena and therapy.
There's apps that are essentially surfing the function of therapy and mental wellness. Apps like, and you know, if I have to censor this later, I'll do it, but I just really want to make sure that people are careful here. Apps like Wobot, Wysa, WYSA, Replica with a K, Youper, Mindsera, etc. These are apps that are actively using AI to basically provide therapy to people. You know, and I don't know, I'm forced to think, where do we draw the line, right? Because are you using technology that's telling you you're fine, or are you actually talking to someone, maybe somebody with past experience or similar experience, who can genuinely give you advice, or are you trusting information that was put into a robot?
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people don't go to therapy because they're like, why am I going to go tell someone about my problems who goes and tells someone about their problems, who probably goes and tells someone about their problems? So it's like,
but how safe is it with AI?
100%. Yeah, I agree with you. But it's like, I feel like a lot of people don't see the value of telling someone that's not going through their life experience certain things. Not saying everyone feels that way, but I feel like people that I've seen that don't do therapy, they always say that. It's like they don't see the value of talking to someone that doesn't know anything about them, that doesn't know anything about their life, doesn't have their life and their experience or their perspective. So it's like, why would that help me? Versus like a computer, say if you can program them to believe the same things you're believing, maybe that could be more
But
insightful.
maybe you need somebody that doesn't believe the same things you're believing.
True, absolutely.
I don't know. The computer doesn't know anything about you until you feed it stuff about you. And then so what kind of generated responses is it? I don't know. That's a pretty interesting.
I'm just playing devil's advocate, by the way,
for sure.
because I don't want. I'm not a therapist. I'm not that I don't believe in therapy. I believe myself. I can solve my problems by myself and through prayer.
I would like us to do an experiment. I'll let you finish your thought, but I want us to do an experiment. Go ahead, finish your thought, so I can talk about the experiment.
I kind of lost it. My ADD. Go ahead.
All right. So I don't know if you know this, but you can literally ChatGPT has this feature that started last year, where you can literally talk to the AI voice. I just want to give you guys a, hey, what's up? How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Just ready to chat. What's up with you?
I'm feeling really sad, and I think I need some help. What do you recommend I do?
I'm really sorry you're feeling this way. You're not alone, and I'm here to listen. If you need support, reaching out to a trusted friend, family member, or a professional therapist can really help. If things feel overwhelming, it might be good to talk to a crisis counselor. There are hotlines that offer free confidential support. Would you like help finding resources, or do you just want to talk it out?
Last question. Can you give me therapy?
I wish I could, but I'm not a therapist. What I can do is listen, help you sort through your thoughts, and offer guidance on where to find real support. If you're struggling, talking to a professional could really help. They have the tools to support you in ways I can't. But if you just need a vent or chat, I'm here.
So that's what we're talking about, right? That's really what we're talking about. We're talking about technology that's improving. That wasn't a human. That was a robot. That was a algorithm, AI telling me to seek help, and that could be
Which is great.
That could be great,
Yeah,
right?
that's great.
That could be positive.
That is
right?
positive.
But
and
where,
he said he wasn't a therapist, so
which
that
is
was
really
good.
nice. I wanted to test it.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, I wanted to test it. I wanted to see what it would say.
But there are therapy.
But that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
That's not a therapist.
Yeah.
There could be therapy bots that are programmed to do that
Right.
job that can do it better than that. But that's what I'm saying. I don't believe in therapy at all, to be honest, because like, whatever, you could go talk to someone about your problem, but they're not going to solve it for you. You're going to solve it for yourself. So like, it goes back to like that. That is exactly the same experience I'll get with a therapist. It's like talking to them. They're going to say that same thing.
I want to challenge that because I've been meeting with a therapist now for a few months, and
this is me personally.
No,
When
and
I
I
say
get that.
Yeah,
therapy,
yeah.
I'm saying
We're all having
I'm not saying
conversations.
people don't need therapy, because absolutely people
Yeah.
do. I say it all the time on Twitter. I'll be like, yo, this person needs to seek help. I'm saying for myself, not to say that I don't need help. I do. But I'm saying I don't feel as if therapy would be therapeutic for myself.
Yeah,
That's
the
what I mean.
therapy
And I just
wouldn't-
want to clear
wouldn't
that
be
up
for
so I
you.
don't come off like, yo, therapy is for losers, because it's not
right.
at all.
And I understand that, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I know that that's how you truly feel.
Yeah.
But I just want to give a different perspective
For sure.
because I'm actively involved in therapy and I'm seeing a therapist every week, and I've learned a lot of things about myself and about my past that has really helped me identify what are those things that I really need to work on. Right, things like my anger problems, things like my tendency to do things, do A instead of doing B, my motivation, my energy. These are things. But notice that my therapist, I meet with him through Zoom, essentially. I don't meet with him in person. So there's no way he can physically tell me what to do. But he does lead me to what I should be able to do. And in that way, what you're really doing is you're empowering the person to do it for themselves. Like I've never met the guy. I've never shook his hand before. However, he has pushed me emotionally, mentally, and at times when it comes to my motivation to make these decisions to change, where I'm having these conversations, for example, with my wife, with my family, where I'm letting them know what's really going on.
Yeah.
I've shared in the podcast that one of my biggest problems is that I find it really hard to share my emotions from time to time. And what I ended up learning is that a large reason is because I don't know how to. It's really hard for me to share how I'm feeling because I can't seem to find the words or the right mindset to tell people what I'm going through. And my therapist has been really essential to asking why. And
I think that's the best time to have a therapist
Yeah.
is with people that don't have the ability, but like they have trouble voicing what's going on through them or different things like that. Me, I will tell you exactly what my issues are. Like, I'll be like, dude, I need to stop doing this. I need to like, and that's where like, I'm saying the difference for me was like in realizing like my biggest enemy is myself in a lot of those ways. But I absolutely agree with you. Like some people definitely need to be like, have someone, because I consider myself as not a therapist, but I consider myself as someone that is very good at listening to people's very real things and telling them very real things back. Like when my friend got arrested and he didn't tell really anyone else of our friends, he's like, yo, I got arrested. I don't know what to do. I know your mom's into this stuff. I was like, yo, I just want to let you know, like, I've been telling you this for years, bro. You gotta slow down. Like life is only gonna catch up to you. It's not to be beat it down on the door. It's just like this is something that's gonna be an experience in life that's gonna help you maybe change for the future. My mom got arrested randomly. And now she's 19 years sober. Like that's all it takes sometimes in life. And like, so I just think it's definitely cool what you're saying. Like it's cool how people.
Yeah, I think people therapy was very, it was successful in my life too, very successful. And I had to go through trauma therapy and things like that because I couldn't connect some of my traumas to what was happening in my life.
So in those situations when you're getting therapy or how so like, and you're saying like you're reaching those breakthroughs, what exactly is happening? Are they just asking you questions that other people wouldn't? Are they do you feel way more comfortable in that setting to be like, okay, I feel so comfortable in this setting because this is a job, and so I'm going to say exactly what I need to?
Not necessarily. I think a great therapist makes the job. Like I've heard of people that have went to therapy and they had a horrible therapist that didn't know how to really create that atmosphere of trust and safety and be able to have, because people, you go to school, you're learning the psychology behind things. Like there's a lot that goes into.
In your experience though.
Like, in my experience. In my experience.
I feel like that could be so broad and everybody would have a completely
Well,
experience.
I had two therapists and
I'm
both
saying
of
like
them
what was it that like brought you to therapy and made it realize like therapy is the only way I could have gotten this?
Well, it wasn't just therapy. I think that it's a multitude of things. Therapy.
What I'm saying is, what did you get from therapy that you couldn't have got from anywhere else? That from like another person, from yourself. Not saying that therapy is unnecessary, but I'm saying what value did you get from it?
I got a professional, somebody who was an incredible therapist, to be able to like look into my life, build trust and rapport with me enough to walk me through. And I did EMDR with trauma, which is a type of
emotional response therapy.
Well, yeah, they're also helping you with like unlocking, because when we have certain traumas, we will lock them in and we can like not.
Okay, so like I can understand.
So they helped me to unlock those, and we walked through those traumatic events. And there was different techniques and tactics that they did in order to like kind of pull me through the other side. So what was happening on the inside that was kind of stored within, they helped me to walk through, process it, unlock it, and get to a space of like safety, which then regenerated for me like healing and growth in that situation that I would have never known because I locked it up over here.
Got it.
And they connected me to behaviors, because a lot of the time you don't realize some of your behaviors and your tendencies are so linked to all of these different things that you have yet to either process, heal from, or even acknowledge. So you have people out here spewing, hurt people, heal people.
So they're, for the most part, they're kind of not teaching you, but they're making you aware of
I
things.
would say teaching you.
Oh yeah,
okay,
teaching you.
I don't want to. I say teaching because it makes it seem like you're dumb.
I think any person can be a teacher.
But I agree, it's teaching.
I have therapeutic experiences with people that aren't therapists. People have therapeutic experiences with me, and I'm not a licensed therapist. So I don't necessarily. I think it's amazing that there's a role like that, because people don't always have access to someone. Like my friends have access to me, so they can talk to me, and I know how to like provide support that is like probably very therapeutic. Not everybody knows how to do that. And not everybody has the insight and the self-awareness to because they've walked through their own challenges to understand like these actions and behaviors actually correlate with this trauma. So a lot of even like young people will see, in kids in school, they'll deem them like ADHD or behavioral issues and all this stuff, but it's really linked to trauma, things that are happening in their household, and they don't know how to actually express those emotions, so it comes out in a certain way. So I think that in those senses, like therapy is extremely valid and useful and a powerful tool to support people with like learning themselves and gaining the awareness and the suggestions of action steps to what I need to do to get better. Yeah. Right. And I think we need people no matter what. I just don't think everybody has access to that person that can speak into their life. And so if they don't, like seeking help and seeking therapy, that's a huge positive step they could take.
For me, my therapist, we've been talking a lot because he did a few tests to prove if I had ADHD or not, and the test came out conclusive that I do. And I always had an inkling, right, that I had ADHD, but I never really explored that, right? And he started talking to me about like how ADHD can start affecting different aspects of my life. And I really started noticing, wait a minute, there's a lot of stuff that I was doing growing up that I didn't realize was because of my ADHD, you know? And today, there's a lot of things that I do today that I didn't realize were the reason behind it is because I have ADHD symptoms. You see what I'm saying? So my therapist helped me see that. I couldn't see that before. Now people can tell, oh yeah, because obviously you have ADHD, but what does that mean? What exactly does that entail? And he broke it down step by step. Well, if you have ADHD, you're more likely to do this compared to this. And then I started thinking, I do that compared to other things that I could do.
Yeah.
The whole I'm unable to control my emotions from time to time. You know, where I get really angry all of a sudden and then I have to cool off. That has to do with ADHD because ADHD is people who have ADHD, it's really hard for them to regulate their emotions. So do you
think everybody that goes through things in life should have a therapist, or do you think
not
people
necessarily.
should find a way to regulate
I
that?
But they may, the therapist
or do you think
may
there's
be,
always a person that's going to need a therapist and
Not
won't be able
necessarily.
to regulate certain things? In
No, not necessarily. I think that people can learn from anyone.
Okay.
Right now, if I have to go to a therapist and I choose to go to a therapist and that's where I learned everything because I didn't have somebody to learn from, then that's totally okay. I respect that decision. I'm one of those people that needed a therapist, you know.
Yeah.
However, there are other individuals that maybe have like really positive role models, people that have emotional intelligence, are aware with they're able to teach you how to manage your
I
emotions.
think the number one thing you can have in life is a mentor, for sure.
Yeah,
So
and your
that's what
parents.
that
So think
is.
about it even with
Yeah.
kids, right? Like I get to teach Cooper how to manage his emotions. He's diagnosed ADHD. He has trauma, childhood trauma, and all these things. But I've put him in therapy before too, because sometimes it's harder coming from mom than it is from like another person too. So to me, it's not that everybody needs it, but if you recognize that you do, don't ever feel ashamed that you have to go to like an outside support because not everybody has those supports in their life. No. Now, some people do, and they're like, man, I had a great, youth pastor and my parents were really, they were psychologists. They were able to teach me from a very young age how to manage my emotions. I didn't have a stressful childhood. The things that I did go through, I was able to process with them. And so they have an emotional intelligence that kind of gives them an upper hand. We call that recovery capital, right? Like you have these things in your life that have supported your process. So you kind of have an upper hand on whereas somebody who maybe didn't have those opportunities. So it's just, every person's different, I think it's just personal choice of whether you feel like you can benefit from something like that. Because I think everything should be voluntary, like the outcome of me getting a service from somebody is going to be a way greater outcome if I am voluntarily like I feel like I want this, right, for myself because I'm trying to better myself. I've tried all of these things. It hasn't helped me. Maybe this is going to be what supports my process. And if you get really great therapists,
because some therapists are not great.
Yeah.
I've met therapists that are not great, and they were a hindrance to my mental health.
I think I will never, ever be able to get over the spending money on someone to talk to me. That's my thing. And that's because I think so analytically in money, and I think so much about money, which isn't a good thing at all.
Well, let me give
but
you...
I think like...
I'm going to challenge
I'm
that.
going to pay someone $500 a month. I don't know how much it costs.
But let me challenge
to
that.
talk to me.
So if my life
and
prior to that...
A lot of people's stresses come through finances and
No,
money and different
money
things
is
like
not
that.
everything.
It's
money,
not.
Money is
Absolutely
not everything.
I agree. It's not.
I have had money. I've
not
had
at
no
all.
money. But let me just say this. When I invested in my recovery, which cost money, okay? It cost money, okay? Thank God I did, and it was everything I had. So I had nothing after that. The person that I was after that has been able to build the success that I have now.
Invest in your recovery in other ways? And that's my thing.
Well, could I have? Everything
That's
costs
my thing.
money.
It's like you guys are making it seem like there's only one way to
There's
invest
not.
in
I'm
recovery.
not talking about.
There's not.
Yeah. There's
because that's not
But the way
true
that
at
I
all.
look at money,
I think therapy for certain people would be more detrimental.
Well,
because you're talking to someone that maybe, like, let's say. Maybe not me. Maybe I can go in and I'll have a great session. But I think there's certain people where it just would not be beneficial to their life. And that goes with everything in life.
Can I ask, are you talking out of experience?
No. I literally just said, I'm like, I don't know if that would be me or not. But I'm saying.
So you never met with a therapist before?
No. Well, I have met with like people that do therapy and talk to them and had different conversations about different things, but I've never met with a therapist because, again, I'm not going to pay money to do it.
Well,
So
I think the best investment, I will always hands down say this, the best investment that you can do is an investment in yourself, You will have, your greatest investment is an investment in yourself.
I agree.
Now, if that includes that therapy was part of that process, paying for a personal growth, whatever. If you come out better on the other end,
True.
okay, you are going to do greater things.
I agree.
To me, when I look at investment, whether it's therapy, whether it's that, money's not an option. I don't care. I will give my last dollar if I know that I turn out better on the other end, because I'll build it back. I'm better, rather than me kind of destroying everything and you know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it. No matter what, if you're investing in yourself, you'll have a return.
Okay. So one final question to kind of tie us back into what we were talking about, and I want to ask it to you specifically. Do you think if those therapists were AI,
No,
do you think it would have been beneficial?
absolutely not.
Same here.
I promise you that
But
they
that
are
goes
too,
back to what you guys were saying to me. How do you know unless you've done it?
well,
You've
he's
never done it
asking me-
before.
Well, he's asking me, like, if the two people, and I know them by name, I know things about them
They've done
because they've
AI?
had an impact in my life that was they were therapists, but they were mentors and they loved me. An AI cannot love me the way another human being loved me in my most broken, deepest, darkest places. This is my personal opinion.
You know how I feel about conditional love and stuff.
But it doesn't matter to
But
me.
I agree. No, fair.
I think
Everybody's journey is their own.
Correct.
So whatever works for you.
So
works for
in
you.
those moments where they put a lot into my support and they really showed me love during like a very broken time and brought me to so many breakthroughs and healing and all of that, there's no way that I would ever say that AI could have filled that role. So
Same for me.
yeah.
Same for me.
Yeah. Now maybe other people, I don't know, but for me,
no.
yeah.
I've this guy who's been helping me out. This guy who's been helping me out has really opened up my eyes to a lot of things that I've been involved in. My mom is a psychologist. I've been involved. I've studied psychology. Like I've been to school for it.
So do you think it's psychology, or you think it's meeting a certain person that can help you? Because you said your mom's a psychologist. You've studied psychology. Why did this person specifically reach through you versus other people? Is it
because it's intentional.
okay?
Like nobody in my life was. This is why they say that your parent can't be your therapist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because there's a certain level of bias, right, where it makes it really hard to be honest and open with you about what's
Fully
going on.
honest,
Fair.
yeah.
Like my therapist, when I mess up, he tells me, "Bro, that was weird," and I go, "Yeah, I know. That's why I'm here." But there's times where he's like, "You need to forgive yourself, bro. Like it really sounds like you went through this trouble and you're still not forgiving yourself for that."
I understand that completely. That makes tons of sense, which sucks. And it's a sucky thing because I wish you could talk to your brother and then be honest about you about something. But you're right. It's not. There's a lot of times people will sugarcoat things. And so that's one of the, again, I'm not a big therapy person. That's one of the few things I would see if like someone is so warped brain and they like can't find anyone to talk to about certain things that like are digging at them deeply, whether it be like bad thoughts or whatever it is. If it's something, that's when I absolutely believe therapy is 100% necessary. It's like where you should. That's why I said it all the time on like Twitter. I'm like, bro, go seek help. Like you could tell like there's something wrong with you and there's something you need to get out like your chest, and you probably don't have someone to talk to. Go seek therapy. And
yeah, and I want to challenge people who are listening to really do some digging, because oftentimes the ones who need therapy are the ones who don't immediately recognize it, you know, because you truly need to understand that there is something not okay in order for you to understand that you need to get help.
Yeah.
And I think that's
there's a lot
really
of
hard
stigma.
for some people.
There's a lot of stigma.
And there's a lot of stigma too.
Oh, why do you need to talk to somebody?
Yeah, I
like,
can
do
speak
it
about
yourself.
Latin America and how people are like refuse therapy because they don't see that as a.
But then they'll
tool.
go and continue in their same issues.
That's a
doing
big
the
reason
same
for sure.
thing.
Exactly.
For sure, stigma is a lot of things.
It's huge.
Yeah,
it's huge.
That's probably one of the biggest reasons. But that's the thing for me. It's not even a stigma. Like for me, it's really not a stigma thing. I think for me, it's more so. It's like I truly just don't know.
Let me ask you this: if you had a child, okay, and you've done everything you can to support this child, but this child was going through like some really like issues that like you didn't know what to do.
I just don't think that would happen.
You don't.
No, I think if you're an active parent and you're in your child's life and you let them do what they want to do and you're on top of them and you make sure they're structured, I don't think that should be happening.
That's what everybody says.
Everybody says that until they show up and they're like in desperation.
And that's fine. But
it happens all the time. Yeah, it happens all the time. And I think that people, until they get to that desperation, until it's them, they always think,
I think mental health and things is a big thing. And obviously with mental health comes therapy. That's where people correlate. Like you have mental health struggles, you probably should go to a therapist. But I think there's more
so
avenues.
Much more, yeah.
To find therapy.
It's not just
you can read the
therapists.
Bible. I think you can go outside. I think you can go for a walk. I think you can go to the gym. I think you can do so many other things and go talk to a person about your issues that they don't deal with. And that's, again, my opinion. So,
that's where I want to challenge you again. My therapist is diagnosed with ADHD.
So was 90% of the world.
But
I'm
that's not.
with ADHD.
But that's not the point I'm making. The point that I'm making is that he lived his life and he found a way to work through life, and now he's teaching me what he found. That's where it works. That's the mentorship part that we're talking about, where therapy works. Which again, AI can't really do that because it's depending on all the information.
I mean, I agree
world.
with you guys on that point. For sure, a regular therapist is going to be better than a therapist. I was playing devil's advocate on that. I absolutely agree with that. But my point is, I just don't think everybody needs therapy because there's a lot of people that say everyone needs therapy.
No, well, I'm not saying that.
I'm not
I don't
saying
think
that
everyone
either.
needs
I
therapy.
think your own
okay.
Yeah.
needs.
Okay.
Nobody's
I
saying
think
that.
Saying that, then that's fine.
Yeah, I think everybody
I don't know why
knows
I don't
their
agree
own
with you guys.
needs.
Yeah, I don't think that was ever a thing.
You know if you need therapy.
Yeah.
And if it's not for you right now, that's okay, and maybe someday it will be. Right? We can only speak on the now. Like right now, I don't need ice cream. Later on, I might have a little craving for ice cream and want to get ice cream, but right now I'm not craving it. So why would I get it?
That's fair. Yeah.
And I haven't been in therapy since early on in my recovery, but if I felt that I needed it, I would never feel ashamed to go out and get a therapist.
I love what we do here because a lot of it is for a period of time. Like it's rare to have somebody in services with us for 10 years. It's like that's not going to happen because the whole point of recovery is to, or at least peer support, is to get you to that spot so that you can keep going by yourself. I love discharge sessions.
I used to say it all the time when I was a gym trainer. I'm like, and that's why I was a trash gym trainer. I'm like, my goal is to make you self-sufficient. I do not want you to rely on me. I don't want you to pay me every month for a gym membership or to help you train.
Self-efficacy.
I want to teach you how to, I want to give you the fishing pole so you can go fish yourself.
I celebrate discharge sessions, and I bet there's a lot of people here in these walls that don't agree with that.
And you know what's funny?
I love discharge sessions.
Celebrated my discharge session too. And I didn't want to discharge from treatment when I was in treatment because I had finally had so much breakthrough and I've created safety where I was at that I was actually scared to leave.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, you're ready.
That's
She's
line.
Like, you're ready.
That's the bond you got to
But she also really worked. I was not a believer of therapy either. Okay. So let me tell you, I was put in therapy when I was younger. Didn't work. Okay. When I was a kid, having all my troubles, whatever, but I also didn't want it. So now I'm in a different situation where I'm in therapy, and it took her. And she even said, like, Kayla, it was like pulling teeth to actually get you to like open up to me because I was very closed off, but I was closed off from the world. But she built enough trust with me, right? Which means that and this is why I don't think AI could ever take that place.
I agree.
Because when I could actually like share our story.
AI doesn't have emotion, so
right, that's what I'm saying. So
and if it does, it's programmed.
Yeah, right.
It's not real. So, that's my point.
Yeah.
So like at your most like darkest times where you're like your most vulnerable, like if somebody is able to like step in and like build that trust with you and like help walk you through a lot of those things, like it is very life-changing, but that's not the one thing that changed my life. There was multiple things, but I will say that was a return on my investment because I can sit here today and be like, hey, I am way better of a person. I have high EQ, emotional intelligence, which I think everybody needs and most people lack, right? I have good insight, and that's why I'm at where I'm at today. So would I change it? No, I would absolutely invest in that. And it was one of the greatest investments that I put money towards. And I will always say, your greatest investment is when you invest on yourself. I don't know what that looks like, but when you invest in you.
And that's a good point. You don't know what it looks like.
I love seeing your videos, even though I'm not a person who works out. I love seeing your videos in the gym. Like I follow you on Instagram and I've seen your stories because that's you putting in money to work on yourself. You see? Like I'm trying to build up my emotional strength. You're trying to build up your physical and your wellness strength. Like you see how we're both doing the exact same thing, just through different avenues.
Absolutely, yeah. And I fully believe that, you know. And going back to a lot of things I'm saying, everything I'm saying is coming from a very much a devil's advocate standpoint.
Yeah,
I know.
It's not that I hate therapy.
No. I know you
it's
don't.
It's not anything like that, because I really do see the benefit of it for a lot of people. And I very much think I'm an outlier as far as the way I think versus most. So me thinking therapy is not good for me and most people would work definitely aligns with the way things usually have played out in my life. Anyways, back to what I was trying to say. I used to watch a show all the time called Monk. You probably
I know
seen it.
Monk. I know Monk.
One of the biggest things in the show, like 20% of the show, 50% of the show, was active, therapist sessions with his therapist. And it's because the guy had crazy OCD, he had all these issues, and he would solve crimes and stuff. But it was so crazy. Like, the show would be solving crimes, doing this, it's a little bit of a social life, and therapy. So it was like a huge segment of the show. So it showed me that absolutely there are people that, whether it's lifetime or 2 months or 3 months or 3 days, you definitely need someone to be there for you to help you to get through certain things if you don't have someone there.
Yeah.
The guy had no one there for him. He had no family, he had no wife, no kids. So like, back to your point, it's like, if you don't have someone there for you to do that, even if they are there physically, but they're not there emotionally, like the way a therapist would be to be able to talk to those things the right way, then I can absolutely see the value in getting a therapist. And you're 100% right. It is investing in yourself, and there's nothing you could do better than doing that. Because let's say if you are in a rough place and you feel like therapy, or maybe I think it's a waste of money, but you spend that money and it makes you feel in a better place mentally, and now you're doing the things you needed to do, then that's
you're
all
doing
that matters.
good.
That's all that matters.
You know? So I'm full believer of like, whatever you have to do in life to make yourself a good person, you should do.
Whatever's beneficial to your life, right?
Yeah.
To be a good person.
Yeah, whatever's
Because a lot of
working
people do
for.
things to be beneficial. Like, let's say I was saying to make money, and I'm in a crypto thing, and a lot of people are very scammy. They rug pull, they steal money, and that's good for their life, but it's not being a good person.
Yeah.
So like,
agree
whatever you're
with you
doing for your life
wholeheartedly.
to be beneficial as a good person, I think.
Yeah,
people
good
should do.
person and beneficial.
Yeah. That's
Both
the most
need to be true.
important thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
that's
agree.
good. Yeah, and we love your perspectives.
Oh, yeah.
coming because I
like-
think it gives. I really.
It gives you something to
honest-
talk about.
well, it's not, but it's like there are people that think that way. You're not completely outlier. You
Trust
know,
me, there's
so-
people that think way more extreme than me. Then they'll be like, "Oh, like if you're on therapy,
Yeah.
not like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
and
and that's a horrible
and
thing
maybe
to say.
I
People say
thought
it
like that
often.
when I was 12, you know.
Right.
But
Yeah.
like, I've fully matured, and it's like, you're not gay if you need therapy. You're just a person that needs to talk
Yeah.
to someone in order to get through things.
A
Yeah,
lot of people say that,
absolutely.
and I hate that kind of mentality because it's so like far from like what's actually happening. Where
It's a very selfish mentality. That's what
like
it is.
I hate that we live in a world where they really like try to bring you down when you're trying to work on
The
yourself.
thing is, people have a lot of selfish mentalities, and they believe that like, if you're not doing the things that they are doing, then you're doing the wrong thing.
because they need therapy.
That is true.
And with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in this week. We love you guys. We thank you guys. If you're one of our audio listeners, we see you and we love you and we thank you. Make sure to hit that 5 stars as you can. Please follow us here on YouTube or on the audio platforms. Make sure to share the podcast, rate, comment, share, all that kind of stuff. It really helps boost the popularity of the podcast so we can reach more people and keep having conversations about wellness.
Awesome.
So with that being said, we will see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Peace out.
Ciao.